The Marxist Democrats are upset that parents have been showing up to school board meetings and denouncing mask mandates and the indoctrination of children with critical race theory or systemic anti-white racism, which is really just a symptom of black fragility or BIPOCs and white liberals just constantly complaining about white people and America. And they're getting upset that normal people are finally calling them out for their insanity.
Right now, everyone from the Proud Boys to the Oath Keepers to QAnon influencers are trying to encourage their members, their followers, their maniacs to show up at school board hearings.
Similar tactics to what happened on January 6th that now are being turned against school boards nationwide in a trend that's really disturbing and sinister.
So QAnon is behind parents finally getting involved in what their children are being taught at public schools, huh?
So Frank, things have become so scary at these meetings that the organization representing school boards across the country is asking the federal government to help, arguing that the classification of these actions could be the equivalent to a form of domestic terrorism.
Yes, they're literally calling these awesome parents domestic terrorists. But it's not just the idiots on MSNBC. The National School Board Association wrote a detailed letter to the federal government asking the FBI and Homeland Security to investigate them. When normal people started spreading the word about this defamatory and utterly ludicrous letter from the National School Board Association, the Associated Press fact-checkers decided to claim that we were spreading fake news. Quote, contrary to the false claims circulating online, the National School Boards Association didn't ask President Joe Biden to label protesting parents domestic terrorists, and there's no indication that Biden or the Justice Department called them terrorists either. Well, what are you going to believe, a leftist internet fact checker or your lying eyes? Because the actual letter reads, quote, as these acts of malice, violence, and threats against public officials have increased, the classification of these heinous acts could be the equivalent of a form of domestic terrorism. It goes on to say, additionally, the NSBA requests that such a review examine appropriate enforceable actions against these crimes and acts of violence. Oh, pounding on the podium when someone is yelling at the degenerate school board members. Under the Gun-Free Zones Act and the Patriot Act in regards to domestic terrorism. Half these fact-checkers are just as fake as the supposed news that's published by the liberal media industrial complex. But the reason that they do it is because these third-party independent fact-checkers are partnered with Facebook. And when they fact-check something and claim that a story is false, then anybody who posts about it on Facebook has those posts suppressed and they don't go viral. These fake fact checks are essentially another Marxist tactic for more censorship. I can't emphasize how upset the left is that so many parents are waking up and finally getting involved. Media Matters just complained that a Fox guest urges viewers to continue protesting local school boards. Do not stop. Double down, he said. Yes, I agree. I'm excited because we're finally making some progress against the cultural Marxism that these commies have been indoctrinating the kids with for years. And some parents are even growing the courage to demand that other extremist symbols be removed from the classrooms as well. Not just the Antifa flag, but the sacred LGBT pride flag. Or as many are calling it today, and I gotta check my notes here, the LGBTQQICAPF2K plus flag.
Education culture wars have a new target, pride flags in the classroom. With students back in school, classroom displays of LGBTQ pride symbols are sparking debate in districts across the country. An Oregon school board last week banned educators from displaying pride flags. One school board member saying, we don't pay our teachers to push their political views on our students. That's not their place.
This video has been circulating on social media showing a Utah high school student cutting down a pride flag and students cheering him on.
I'm old enough to remember when they just called it the LGBT movement, but as you know, every year they keep adding more and more letters for new identities to it, and they have the plus on the end because there's even more. And I don't know what half these letters stand for, but I do know what the letter I stands for.
Is incest acceptable in the safe space without being judgmental if some folks want to practice incest? Are they going to be welcomed in your safe space? If there are two consenting adults?
Like, if they're two consenting adults, I mean, I guess so.
So, like, if a father and his daughter were having a sexual relationship, as long as they were over 18, you wouldn't be judgmental, you would allow them in your safe space? They're part of the LGBT community.
If they both wanted to and were like within totally sober and cognitive
And
states of
consenting
mind.
adults.
Yeah.
Okay. And you're not being sarcastic at all?
No, I'm not.
You're very
no.
serious.
Yeah.
That's liberalism in the New World Order. But speaking of the fake fact checks, do you remember those troops that Joe Biden's incompetence got killed because of his botched withdrawal of Afghanistan? During the dignified transfer, when their remains were being transferred from the airline back onto American soil, old Joe was there, as is customary, and kept checking his watch because he couldn't wait for his ice cream break. People were understandably outraged at such a despicable and disrespectful act, and so the fact checkers quickly pounced, and they claimed that he only checked his watch after the ceremony, which was a half-truth because, well, he did check it after the ceremony, but he also checked it numerous times throughout the ceremony as well. After their fake fact check was widely denounced and ridiculed online, they finally changed it, but they couldn't admit the error of their ways, so instead of changing it from false to true, they changed it from false to partially true because, well, I guess old Joe did check his watch after the ceremony too. And let's not forget that PolitiFact, another one of Facebook's third-party trusted fact checkers, had to retract their false fact check, claiming that it was false that the coronavirus came from the Wuhan lab and, well, is man-made. Have you noticed how so many supposed conspiracy theories later turn out to be, well, true? Candace Owens had to sue one of the fact checkers in order to get them to retract one of their fake fact checks, which caused her page to be demonetized because, well, every strike that you get from posting fake news, according to the all-knowing fact checkers, causes a penalty to be added to your page, and after 3 strikes, they demonetize it. Facebook does this to try to keep their hands clean so they can just claim that it's the third-party independent fact checkers which have decided these things. And so Candace sued them and got one of them to retract one of their fake fact checks about something that she had posted about Joe Biden. And speaking of retractions, Snopes, one of the all-knowing fact checkers online, retracted 60 articles after their co-founder admitted to, well, plagiarizing them. For every fake fact check that the fake fact checkers admit is fake, there are hundreds of others, but it's a good start. It's not even Halloween yet, but it is looking like a zombie apocalypse out there, so be careful. And if you want to help spread the word and support my channel, order my Beware of Democrats shirt from my online store, markdice.com, or click the link in the description below. Like all of my designs, it's available in a t-shirt, long sleeve, and a hoodie, and a whole bunch of different colors as well. And if that's not your style, I'm sure you'll enjoy my Arrest Dr. Fauci shirt, which will probably get banned soon, so order yours now by going to markdice.com or click the link in the description below and check them out.